My name is Agustin Maggio. I'm the program leader for Roots, which is one of the lead partners of the Climate Justice Camp. It's been 3 years now that we've been doing the Climate Justice Camp. For the last two, we've held it in the Middle East and North Africa region. The inaugural camp was in Tunisia, and then we followed it up with our camp in Lebanon, which last year had close to 500 people. And over the last several years, our experience running these camps, running workshops, running trainings has been just struck by the sheer passion of the organizers and activists and advocates from this region to transform the communities. The amount of emails and phone calls and text messages we get and the testimonies we get from these young people from sub-Saharan Africa about what a camp like this could mean for the region and for their communities has been anything short of incredible. And it's just, we've been ready for quite a while to bring this platform here. We've been working with so many local partners from Kenya, from Tanzania, from South Africa, from Uganda, and we were finally able to put it together. It's been such an incredible experience. Everything you see here has been put together by over 30 different organizations, most of them from the region. And honestly, for us, this is just the beginning of work with the local people from the region. What makes the Climate Justice Camp special and a one-of-its-kind type event is that it's not just another conference or summit. It's a living, breathing organism. It's made up and it's a result of the people who are here. So what we do is create a space on the platform for these young leaders from all over the world to come together and talk about the local work, to learn from one another, but to build deep relationships, deep connections that we've seen flourish for years, and to take action together. So the camp is really a platform for them to continue to do incredible work and foster new collaborations and improve current projects, and that's really what the camp is all about.
Maybe someone can ask you, why youth?
Because for us, youth of today are the power brokers of tomorrow. We want to make sure we're providing as many opportunities for young people as we can to feel that they can then go back to their communities and continue to inspire action. We believe that climate justice is talking about climate change through an intersectional lens. That means that it's important to understand the needs of our communities, meet them where they are, understand their circumstances, their stories, their trauma, and figure out how is it that their impact links back to the climate crisis. We've seen the climate crisis impact so many of the folks in this camp and in their communities. And what we want to create is a space where they can share those very personal, very community level stories and find systemic solutions for them.
My name is Arusha. I am the National Coordinator of Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines. I'm from Manila, Philippines. So the Philippines is one of the most vulnerable countries because of climate change. And here in this camp, I'm learning more and more about how it's not just the Philippines. There are so many countries that are affected by climate change and how the people are fighting and people are adapting through this crisis and how people are working together. So that's the main thing. We're learning how to work together and help each other through international solidarity. Definitely, the youth is the future, and we are the ones who will decide our future. So us talking to each other, us exchanging these ideas, we are collectively creating this world through our ideas, through our conversations, and we'll bring it back home to our own nations, and that's when we'll implement it and we'll all be doing it together. We're coming from so many perspectives and different backgrounds. We're learning that it's not just about planting trees and cutting trees. It's also about movement. It's also about creating that space for each other, the freedom to talk about the issues, that it isn't just about trees. It's also the pollution. It's also the source of these pollution, the history of colonization from different countries, and why there is climate change in the first place. Our national liberation movement is very powerful. We talk about what kind of change we want to do, and it's coming from all multiple sectors. Like we're working with farmers, with the workers, health workers, we're talking about the youth, students, and even out of school students. Like we are coming from all these different perspectives. And I think that multi-sectoral movement and uniting under one cause is the beautiful thing that we do in the Philippines, and I hope to share here in Africa as well.
Bianca Castro. I'm from Portugal. We're gathering here for 5 days to co-create strategies, to build knowledge, to share our stories with so many people from all around the globe. So it's really 5 days of incredible workshops, of building new connections with people from all over the world, and specifically from the most affected communities by the climate crisis, so that we can have an even more unified climate justice movement, since we're all fighting for the same thing. I understand climate justice has a very complex issue of social issues, of social justice as well. So there's no climate justice without social justice. There's no climate justice without human rights, because climate justice is an intersectional issue. So all of the other struggles that a lot of communities are facing are connected to climate justice. Climate justice is about building a world that is truly fair and just for everyone. And so that doesn't exist without also anti-racism, without gender equality, without housing for all, for example. So all of these struggles are also struggles that are part of climate justice. Youth are the ones that are inheriting this world that is already facing the climate crisis. The climate crisis is intergenerational, but youth needs to be at the center of this fight for climate justice and of the decision making, because we are inheriting the world. We're already facing the worst impacts of the climate crisis, specifically youth from the most affected regions that are also historically the ones that have contributed the least. And so youth is a big part of civil society that is leading the way towards climate justice, towards building a new world that is fair for all. Coming from a country in Europe, Portugal, that is one of the ones that historically is responsible for the climate crisis, I think it's really important to bring back to my context the need to really fund the just transition that the entire world needs to do. So there's a climate debt from the global north towards the global south, and countries like mine need to pay for the reparations, need to pay for loss and damage for those countries that are the most affected and have contributed the least. So for example, in Portugal, due to our historical responsibility, we should be cutting 80% of our emissions until 2030. So we need very ambitious policies to make this happen, and we are one of the countries that need to do it and that are responsible for it.